Training.
So are we going to ask you questions as
changing.
well?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we will, yes we will.
Did we say we were very spontaneous?
Yeah.
And we said at the very beginning today we may ask some nonsense questions, so
That's
now
great.
is the perfect time.
Now it's the time,
Now
right?
is the time for it.
So obviously when you prepare sessions and stuff like that for multiple days and Benji is still frozen there whatsoever, that's us. So let me just share that screen quickly so you know whom we are if you forgot. And yeah, it might be tricky actually because everyone is thinking we are coming back at 2:30. So Benji's session later on at 2:30 will be full with hundreds of people. They want to learn about opensmjle.
He did this on purpose.
He did it. Benji's so smart.
Yeah.
So actually, exactly what I wanted to say. So when you prepare stuff like that, and we started on Saturday, as you guys know. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, speaking with ITB about the ITB virtual convention, which is happening tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m., where we do all the eTravel Lab presentations as well. So we are basically the only ones that were not able to prepare anything.
But let's see how that works out.
Exactly. And actually the only preparation time we took ourselves last night was in the car to the train station.
Yeah, that was like 10 minutes.
It was 10 minutes. And we discussed what we're gonna do. So we said, well, we'll stick to the program. Actually, where's our host? Lisa, we need our host. We need our host, opensmjle is due. So actually we brought in our own host because we're special, right? And I will make space for Lisa because she's not.
But we can just grab another chair.
Oh,
Here's
Lisa,
space.
Lisa can go over there. So you are the host of opensmjle of the session.
This one.
The ladies take care of themselves. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Welcome to the session.
That's Lisa, by the way. opensmjle as well. Hospitality Club. And we cannot see Lisa.
I think now it's good.
Now it's good. Okay. We have 23 minutes left. Okay, let's be fast. So introductions, 60 seconds pitch, and then we talk about whatever we want to talk.
Do so. Do I have to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm the host.
This will be the best session of the
Yes,
day.
I'm Lena from Hospitality Industry Club. I'm obviously the host of this session. And Lena and Daniel are also here from opensmjle. And Shoshana and Iris, obviously. They have been here all morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So then please start with your 60-second pitch.
You're so spontaneous.
I am. Start with your 60-second pitch and then I'll figure out some questions.
No, we do the introduction first.
You do an introduction of opensmjle, okay.
So I'm Lena. I just started with opensmjle like 2 weeks ago. I joined from HRS and there I was taking care of big hotel chains, of CRS integrations. I was working with switch companies, big OTAs and their integration into HRS, as well as onboard distribution, and I started with like technical and operational stuff, and later on I took care of commercials for all of them. And yeah, I recently joined opensmjle and I'm so happy to the new experience and to working with the team.
She's still happy.
What is it, 3 days in?
Yeah. 2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks.
We're working on it. So I'm Daniel, the founder of opensmjle and the founder of the Hospitality Industry Club, which is pushing this format out to you today. I actually have a more or longer period background because I'm way older. So I go back to the good old days at Micros Fidelio together with Iris, and for several years, and Pegasus and Review Pro, which is now part of Shichi as well. And then a few years back in 2013 decided to do my own thing because I saw such a big need from a market perspective on help with everything digital. And we went into different directions throughout these 7 years, and you'll do the pitch quickly as well about all the things we do. But I feel like we're coming home this year.
Maybe before I start, one thing I forgot. So you're going to be seeing me on camps, at trade shows, and I will be your first contact.
For all the trade shows that happen.
Right. KPIs are just for this year.
Right.
Okay, so the 60 seconds pitch on opensmjle.
Yes. So to us, we have been in the industry for 13 years, specialized on hospitality. And our services are video productions. That means, for example, creating videos to tell about your story and your products, as well as to train your co-workers and to help onboard them and educate them. So basically anything video related. That can be for hoteliers, that can also be for tech companies if you really want to talk about your product. And then we do websites, and we're a storytelling agency. So it's really about, on the one hand, streamlining the customer journey. So we really want to make everything simple and lead your potential guests to the booking. And then on the other hand, we focus on telling your story. So we want to know, what are you about? How can we show this on the websites? And we are all about emotions and differentiating yourself through your story, basically. And also, one thing that is really important, we just talked about it yesterday in the car, that we want to do this holistically and that you have, or that you can use it on all channels. So basically the videos and the images we are recording and creating can be used for your newsletters, for OTA websites, as well as your own website, so that you have a congruent storytelling. That's it.
Thank you very much.
You're the host.
Yes, I know. Okay, thanks very much for introducing yourself. They don't have to introduce themselves, or do
No,
they?
they already
Because
did.
they already did it. Okay, perfect. So, what is the thing that you want to tell everyone, or that you would have told people that would have met you at ITB this year? What is the service you want to push this year? What is special?
It sounds like you know already what I want to say.
Oh, wow. Maybe I do, because we talk.
Sometimes.
So,
Only in the car.
Only in the no, in
No.
the office as well. So basically, and that's what I introduced as well in the opening video for ITB when we push out what we want to present during ITB, is that we will introduce from 1st of May a new service which is called the Outsourced Digital Agent. We now call it internally ODA, very fancy. The Outsourced Digital Agent means basically we took everything we learned from all the camps we did in the last 2-3 years, and from the meetings we had, from the projects we have for website projects, video projects, whatsoever. And these key learnings brought us into a situation where we faced like, okay, maybe it makes sense to help out the hotels. Because basically in many hotels, especially hotel groups, there's a certain lack of know-how when it comes to things digital, or the things the people left, or there's only such specific or pros in big hotel groups, but not in individual ones, because they're so busy with, well, we know all the processes in the hotels with 1,000 other stuff, and then there's this customer coming in, complaining about whatever in the room, or that that was not cleaned or whatever. So there's so many things to be done in a hotel operation that we said maybe we can help, and that's why creating packages for hotels and hotel groups, they can actually book us as their outsourced digital agent. We can do 10, 20, 40 hours, as you said yesterday in the car as well, packages per month, or even more if you want. And you will have your dedicated account manager in our team. We have a new colleague starting 1st of May who's the perfect fit for exactly that department. And we will bring in all our know-how, whatever it is. If it's working on your website, if it's selecting the right partners, if it's maintaining the technology, if it's selecting the technology, like the hotel champs out there, or the hotel networks, or the right booking engine, whatever. We are completely free to whatever things you need and need to get covered, or projects or whatever, from a hotel perspective, and every customer project will be different, right? So bring out know-how, we'll do performance marketing for you if you want, or CRM, newsletter, we can do photos and videos, all that stuff. It's depending on you. We will do an audit together with our team, with some selected handpicked experts, so we are just ready to bring out a new model, because we analyzed and we understood that there's a certain need for it based on what we can see and what we face, and as well based on the issue that you cannot find so many employees that actually every hotel needs in this branch. That's one of the main topics at our camps as well, that where do we find these people, how do we keep them, maybe they're too expensive or whatsoever. So we analyze that and we think we have a solution for that. And we are very curious about the feedback from the market, and if no one needs it or wants it, okay, we do something else. No, but that's the core thing we're working on currently. Obviously, we continue doing video productions, employer branding, training videos, as you mentioned, hotel websites and stuff like that. But that's something we're really working on intensively, and we'll build a team on that starting 1st of May. And we're really happy to have that going.
Let me ask another question. Why is it also important for tech providers to know that you will be doing this in the future?
Mm-hmm. Well, based on the experience all of us had in the past, and actually you as well with DailyPoint, you as well with HRS, is that it's really hard to cold call people right now if you want to sell a technology, because there's so many of us out there, and the hoteliers are pretty frustrated about it, and they don't want to receive these calls. And we get the same feedback as well from our partners when we speak to them. That's actually a base as well on why we want to do that. That they are having a hard time actually getting into contact with the right people in the hotel. So the feedback from our partners, coming back to your question, and why we want to do that, is that they are completely happy, because with us it's a different situation. They don't need to call then the hotel anymore whatsoever, but we can decide together with them, is that the right solution at that moment in time for that hotel, and we can be something like a buffer in between. We will not say, okay, you have to use this solution or whatever. We will always select 2, 3 different providers, because we have no agreement with anyone in that context, to the hotel, but we will explain what is the difference, and we will together with the hotel decide, is that the right point in time, right? Because you maybe want to work on your website project first before you onboard direct selling tools, or you want to do your PMS integration or change or whatever before you select a new CRS or whatever. So we'll work closely with them, we'll work closely with the partners. We continuously will reach out as well to the partners. If they have news, if they have new features, we will do stuff in context as well with HIC, so we're pretty close with most partners anyhow. And we will be something like a know-how hub, ideally, for partners and hoteliers.
Which I think is great, because if you consider there is some companies out there doing like offering a selection, like a marketplace where hotels can then look like if they're searching for a certain solution. But instead of having to go through all that themselves, you're preparing them a curated list already, and so like, look, this is based on your business, exactly, which we have already pre-selected for you, and now it's up to you, and we'll explain what our reasons for presenting this list to you were.
And in the marketplace, you can filter yourself, obviously, and you get maybe a short description, but you can't ask the questions you have, and you can't really talk to anyone. So with Daniel or I, you can raise your questions, you can say, hey, this is what I need, and then you get some feedback. So I think this is the advantage.
Yeah.
And I think another advantage of having such a program, so congratulations on that, it's very interesting and I know it works. So, I mean, the main point is also talking about staff issues and staff turnover, for example.
Right.
When we're talking about software projects or marketing projects, you know, just to get started on social media, to get started on a nice video series of trainings, for example, it just takes time. But the reality is, after 3 to 6 months, depending how big the project is, it's done. So it's also much easier for hotels to actually work with a partner like yours in the future, simply because they don't have to, you know, hire anyone to do it full term. If it's all documented very well and you've got training videos later on, the circle is closed, which means you're keeping your own know-how in the hotel business, in your hotel. And I think there is a big market for that. And especially vendors and hoteliers. I'm now also 23 years in the business, hotels, hotel software and consulting, and I can still tell you, they still speak a different language. Yeah, so it's important to have guys like us in between to be able to communicate well and to really understand what is really the goal you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. But just to clarify one thing maybe, and to stop the commercial break here, we will not be consultants. So there's a need for consultants, there's a need for experts out there as well, and we don't want to take that over, but we actually want to do not the consulting bit, but the hands-on part as well. right? So we are not telling you, you use this, and that. No, but we will, after you selected the right program, we will do it as well, and we will do the hands-on, and we will stick with it as well. And if you don't need us after 6 months anymore, okay, totally fine. And then we hopefully deliver something that you can use, and that gives you a bigger return on investment and all that.
To speak with Vladimir's words from this morning, this hateful word of outsourced.
Friends.
But people understand it. They understand that word. So here we go.
Befriended digital agent. No, but the point is that, and we are obviously not the only ones in the market doing something like that. So there's other people as well, and there's other agencies as well, and there's platforms like Hotel Hero, for example, that can help you to a certain extent. But that's exactly what I want to describe. That we can select, we can help in the selection process, or a consultant can do that. But then we do the hands-on as well. Right, so we don't leave you alone after.
And I think that's especially important because, as we all know, well, okay, I have a new revenue management tool, I have a new PMS whatsoever, and then, or CRM, I think that's maybe the best example, and then we use it, but it's so expensive, and we only use it like a 10% of it, that what we could really use. And then it's like, we don't need it actually because no one really knows how to use it, and then it's done.
Plus, in the day-to-day running, you don't have the time to actually dig deeper.
Yes.
You don't have people
Correct.
like Lena who would say, well, actually, I played a bit with this, and this features would like benefit you really because of. You know.
Correct. And that would be where you would be coming in. Perfect. Do we have any online questions?
I was just checking, but there's that's all the guests for a quick text right now. Maybe.
I was about to say, like, it's all the disappointed people who are expecting, maybe speak with a French accent.
Yeah.
Oh yes, please.
That's your preference.
We are French.
So we don't have any?
Okay. No, there's nothing from the audience, obviously, because that came in spontaneously. Maybe we need to do another session later or something like that. But maybe towards the other topics that we cover as well, so I can just explain about our services a little bit. And then we can jump over to Benji, who is already waiting in the back end and trying to, or wishing to jump on. So, obviously that's a pretty new service for us. What we normally do, and that's something you pitched in the beginning and explained as well in the beginning, is that we are going broader when it comes to video productions. Where we started with was a classical image film and stuff like that, and that's fruitful for digital companies, for tech companies, but as well for hotels. What we realized, however, over the time is that there's so many different aspects on where video content can help any company. And for example, we had the pleasure to work last year and this year as well, in May I think we will continue to work with Vienna House as a full group, work with their HR department and create training videos from their entire staff for the different departments. And that's something then that they can now implement into the handbooks of HotelKit, which is another partner of Vienna House. So actually the employees being onboarded, but as well the guys being on board, can always go back to HotelKit and watch the videos. And like that, obviously you can save not only a lot of time and staff and what have you, but as well the onboarding process and the retraining process is a lot easier. And what we can say from studies and from stuff that is out there, clearly visual content is consumed a lot faster and lighter than whatever you have to read. And my picture on how I present this normally is that there's a receptionist in the tram, in the S-Bahn, in the underground or whatever, on the way to work is like, oh, what was the check-in, the 7 steps of the check-in process again? And then they just go into the HotelKit app or any other app and check that video again. They arrive at the reception at the hotel and they can just go and they know the process again, right?
Yeah, or you just have a housekeeper to help out and just be like, okay, in this hotel, how do you do the beds again? Do you want the corner up? Do you want the corner down? Oh, let me quickly check the video. Done, thank you.
Exactly. So for us, that was a great first test dummy with Vienna House, and the experience was great, the feedback was great, and that's something we obviously want to roll out, not only to hotel groups, but as well to individual hotels, because I think it saves them a lot of money. We bring in our own expertise as well, so we can not only do the video and put the camera there and say, okay, go, but we can help them as well with the content and analyze, is that process actually smart? And does that process in that context make sense, right? Because we know the technical environment. And then furthermore, we started going into employer branding, because same topic. Where do you find people? How do you find people? How do you convince people that they want to work with you and stay with you and come on board? And then, well, obviously the hotel groups and the hotels, they go to trade shows, they go to these, what's the name for it? Jobmessen, job trade shows?
Trade shows.
Is that the translation for it?
Job fairs.
Job fairs. They go to job fairs. And that again could be a really nice example of how you can present yourselves, not only by having the CEO saying, oh, we are so great, and shiny pictures and whatever, and everyone is frightened to even speak to them because it's so high level, but really break down to the interns and what have you, to like, what's the feeling, what's the emotion of working for such a team and such a organization. I think that's key, and we did something, if you want to check it out, commercial break, with LFPI hotels based in Cologne. Yeah, that was basically it for videos.
When are you taking over the world?
Is that on never, never, no, that's not on our roadmap.
The roadmap is to be a singer at Oktoberfest.
A singer?
Yes, that's what you told me.
Maybe I was drunk.
Because he said, oh, that will be in 5 years, and then I will not have opensmjle anymore. And I said, nope.
That was the gray-haired. Yeah, that was the gray-haired guy coming there for one song in the end and being celebrated by the entire team.
We're 1 year in already. You have 4 to go. She said 5 years time from last year. Like.
Okay. So in 5 years I have to sing at the Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Obviously.
Huh?
That's optional.
You said like I want to.
No pressure, please. So obviously, context of Oktoberfest, we'll try to have tables there again this year, I guess. But no promises that that's due to the boss to decide. And and yeah, coming back to websites and customer journey as well. So you don't necessarily need to work with us on websites, but we can help you as well if we did not design it on the customer journey and the storytelling part of it. And that's, to be honest and very honest, that's the most interesting part of it anyhow for us. Because yes, can we build websites? Yes, but almost everyone can. But working on the customer journey to actually convert in the end is the much more interesting part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And storytelling as well on how to outline what's special for you as a hotel organization. What differentiates you from your competition, from the neighboring hotels and stuff. I think that's the key things that we can actually help on.
And I think that's very interesting because you're bringing in a new perspective for the hoteliers, because after a while you just don't see the stuff in your own.
Du siehst quasi, wir laufen gerade.
Ist jetzt alles dabei.
Hello. Hey, how you doing? Code to order in the house. Sorry, we muted you. It's not your session. Let's talk later, guys.
Yeah. So basically, where was it?
It's interesting that we are onboarding.
Oh yes, because of a new perspective. Because at the end of the day, it's always so difficult writing about yourself, right? Writing about yourself or your own product. I speak of own experience, so I think it's good to
and actually to keep evolving as well. Yeah. So something we are doing right now is going back to the projects we did 2 or 3 years ago and look at them like, okay, that was good at that time. Maybe we need to speak again on, let's say, pictures, for example, because pictures is a great example. Actually, and we just spoke about it yesterday as well. In the past, we did all these shiny, glossy pictures of empty rooms, right? Yeah. But today, people want to like feel the emotion of being in the room. So you need to flip stuff around on the bed or whatever, and have a couple there or whatever, looking something on the camera or reading a magazine. So you actually get the feeling and the glimpse of being in this room, right? And I think that converts a lot better than just the glossy empty room.
I think it has to go beyond that, because still people feel a little aversion against seeing people in the room they want to whatever.
Yeah.
If they could, but if they could feel like they are in it because they recognize things from their preferences or something, that would be cool. If you could bring it to that level.
That's something you will need to explain later on,
Yes.
on how that works.
Yes.
But yeah, whatever you can do as an extra step, obviously, compared to what everyone did the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think that's a pro and a bonus. And that could actually be the stuff that helps you convert better, especially in these tricky times that we have right now with Corona as well. So I think I spoke enough. Yeah,
we are more or less done.
Wow. You guys can figure out I actually can speak for a very long time.
And where can we find you the next day?
Not in
Sorry,
Berlin.
that would have been your question.
My question to us. But you have some dates to tell, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we will be, if it's not going to be cancelled,
No.
let's hope not, then we will be in Amsterdam on 17th to 18th, right?
Yeah.
And
At
after
the
that,
IHS
Trade
show.
Independent
Yes.
Hotel Show Amsterdam.
and
correct?
after that we'll have some camps in Zurich, Amsterdam, and Vienna. End of this month until 2nd, right?
Yes, correct. So we'll see you over there, and I think now text.
Now quick text.
Start.